The epic pioneer journey of the Latter-day Saints began on the banks of the Mississippi River. The Saints transformed barren swampland into a thriving community of commerce and fellowship, the city of Nauvoo, Illinois. The severe persecution that had driven the Saints from Ohio to Missouri again threatened their lives and their city. The prophet Joseph Smith and his brother Hiram were martyred at Carthage Jail in June 1844. Life in Nauvoo was drawing to a close. President Brigham Young saw in a vision the land the Lord had prepared for them, a place of safety high in the mountains of the West. In the bone-chilling cold of February 1846, the Saints gathered their families and began that daunting trek westward. They left behind the land they had purchased, their homes they had built, most of their possessions, and the temple they had so painstakingly crafted. They set out on wagons, on horseback, and on foot. Fraught with challenges, the journey tested the endurance of every saint. As the pioneers traveled across the plains, their worries centered on illness, hunger, and the endless snow and rain. They forged their way across unforgiving terrain through rivers and streams and climbed mountain passes. In July of 1847, a year and a half after leaving Nauvoo, having traveled nearly 1,300 miles, President Young and his wagon team crested the mountaintops and descended into the Salt Lake Valley. Here the Saints began to build homes and communities, and eventually a temple. The first company of pioneer saints began the migration of converts from all over the world to Salt Lake. Many of the saints from Europe boarded ships and crossed the Atlantic Ocean. From the East Coast, they traveled by ferries and trains to the Midwest. Many did not have the means to construct or purchase wagons and teams of oxen or horses to complete the rest of the trek. Thousands would complete the journey, pulling their belongings and provisions in handcarts. In these handcart companies, every man, woman, and child walked more than 1,000 miles. The Willie and Martin handcart companies left late in the season of 1856 and became stranded in winter storms while crossing present-day Wyoming. The bitter cold and desperate conditions overwhelmed these handcart companies. Though Brigham Young sent rescue companies from Salt Lake City to help, more than 200 saints perished. Over the next 2 decades, more than 70,000 saints would make the perilous journey over the Rocky Mountains. Many families lost loved ones along the way. Their commitment, their endurance, and their sacrifice stands as a testimony of their faith and the gospel of Jesus Christ they so fully embraced. They leave for us an enduring legacy. In July of 2017, the youth of the Cranbrook, British Columbia, and Fort Macleod, Alberta stakes will embark on a commemorative pioneer trek. Our journey through the fields, forests, and mountains of the Fort Steele, British Columbia area will span 4 days and cover 13 miles, or roughly 1% of the trek the Saints traveled. You will be organized into families and handcart companies as you make your way along the trail. As we pull our belongings in handcarts, we will work together to overcome obstacles and climb mountains together. Each night as we circle the handcarts and settle into camp, We'll gather together for firesides and activities. You will have meaningful spiritual experiences that will strengthen your testimony and your resolve to live the gospel. The stories of the early pioneers will come to life before your eyes as you discover what it was like to walk in their shoes. You will create new friendships that will endure long after the trek experience. We encourage you to invite friends who wish to partake in this journey with us. As you walk in the footsteps of the early saints, you will develop a greater love and appreciation for those who made so great a sacrifice as they embraced the gospel of Jesus Christ. Join with us as together we press forward with faith.